You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose.
Your own jingle, Ashley.
As long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. As long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in.
Yes, it's Monday. It's 12:30 and it's time for live and linking. And this week, my guest is none other than the relentlessly helpful LinkedIn nerd, John Espirian himself. What he doesn't know about LinkedIn isn't worth knowing. And he's one of the inspirations for me doing this and in doing what I do and helping people and stuff like that. So let's get him in and let's have a little chat. Hello, John. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Ashley. Lovely to see you again. Thanks for inviting me back. Yeah, great to be here.
I love having you on the show. We've already had a little bit of chat in the green room before we started, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, there may be one or two people that do not know who John Espirian is. So please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, where you are.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. So it's my name is John Espirian. I used to be a technical writer, and I'm now specialised on LinkedIn. So I'm an independent LinkedIn trainer, the same way that Ashley is. I live and work in South Wales in the UK, and I run my own community called Espresso Plus. And Ashley is one of my valued members. And yeah, I just help people try and understand what this place is all about, because it's a big and confusing and sometimes scary place. And I just help people with some honest data-backed science on how LinkedIn really works.
Yeah, and you call yourself the really I'm going to get this totally wrong, aren't I? It's got a relentlessly helpful. There we go. Relentlessly helpful LinkedIn nerd. And you trademarked that, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. I think that sums me up in a nutshell. I came up with it really kind of by accident some years ago. And yeah, the label just stuck. It just felt like it was a good summary of what I was all about. I am quite nerdy with my data. I like doing little experiments, trying to find out how the place works, and giving people some like real battle tested advice instead of just making up an opinion and pretending it's a fact, which, you know, some people seem to do sometimes. So I just test stuff myself, and if it works, then I'll share it with my audience. And if it doesn't, I'll also share it with my audience and tell them what to avoid.
Yeah, and you've always got a little experiment going on. You're playing around with Premium All-in-One at the moment, aren't you?
I am, yes. That's a relatively recent thing. That it's a new subscription package that kind of sits between normal LinkedIn Premium, you know, the gold badge that you see on a lot of people's accounts, and the fancier Sales Navigator. It's kind of in between those two. It's got some features of both. It's a bit more expensive than Premium, not as expensive as Sales Navigator. So I'm playing with that to see how it works. Must admit that I'm not actually bowled over by it at the moment, but it was about £100 a year more expensive than the Premium, so it felt like a reasonable thing to try out. So I'm just in the middle of testing that at the moment.
And this is probably a question you get asked all the time, because I do. Should we pay for LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think most people probably not, to be honest. I mean, I don't work for LinkedIn. It's not in my interest for you to pay for LinkedIn. I don't get anything if you pay for LinkedIn. And I tell people, the analogy I often make is it's a bit like driving a car. Like, if you can't drive your family saloon well, why on earth are you going to go and buy a Lamborghini or something? You know, learn to drive properly. So it's another way of saying, really, that use all of the features available to you, get to know them, understand them, optimize your profile. You can do that for free. You know, write posts well. You can do that for free. Comment, use DMs, join groups, set up events, like play with the platform, understand it. If you're at the limits of what you can do, brilliant. Then that's the time to upgrade. But if you just go, oh, if I just pay whatever it is, I don't know what it is now, £50 a month, maybe more.
Yeah.
And you get a gold badge, don't think that clients are going to suddenly fall in your lap because you've done that, or you're suddenly going to get loads more views on your posts. It doesn't really work. So Premium is great for some people, but most people probably waste their money on it when they're not really ready. So in the main, I would say probably don't pay for it, or at least not yet.
No, perfect advice, and pretty much similar to what I say. Let's just say hello to Michal. He's loving LinkedIn and does a lot on LinkedIn, and he often comes into my show. So hi, Michal. Thanks for coming in and saying hello. And you're streaming on your side as well. So do I see their chats coming in here, or do you?
You should see everything because you're the person who's hosting the stream. Right. So yes, I will see comments from everyone as well, I believe.
Fantastic.
But yes, it's going out on my LinkedIn. It's going out on my YouTube as well, just to give you a bit more visibility for these streams, because I know LinkedIn doesn't always promote live streams the way it could do.
Or the way it should do. Yeah, you're quite right, because there's an awful lot of effort going into doing a live. And you'd think you'd see an awful lot more people going live, but they don't. Any thoughts on that?
I think also, I mean, as a viewer, someone who watches a lot of video, I find that watching things back via YouTube is just it's a nicer user interface. It's much more reliable. Whereas watching LinkedIn live streams, often it's a bit glitchy, or you end up 30 seconds behind live, and therefore the comments don't make sense. So I think that's just a technical limitation of the platform. Not quite sure why that is. But I suppose at least one thing that LinkedIn has done recently is that they've added some studio components so that you can at least go and extract your video and repurpose it and stuff. So they're trying to do a little bit to support regular live streamers like you, but it's a tough gig. I mean, any kind of visibility on LinkedIn at the moment seems to be hard won, honestly.
And so where are we going wrong at the moment then with our visibility on LinkedIn?
Well, one of them is probably using links, because I think, as I said to you before we went live, I think a lot of people just using them far too often, and that tends to reduce your visibility. I've been tracking my own posts in my master spreadsheet that I gather, and I find that whenever I include a link, gets about 30% lower impressions than if I don't, which that stacks up over time. If you're going to be a regular link poster, you're going to be missing out a lot. And if you do anything that is actually also out of your wheelhouse, now that LinkedIn's algorithms have been, let's say, rejigged quite significantly in the past 18 months, if you start talking about this, that, and the other, rather than staying in your lane, then LinkedIn is not going to show your content to many people. So even though some people think it's a bit boring to go, I don't want to talk about the same thing all the time, if you actually want to play the game of getting as many people to see your content as possible, you've got to try and stick to your area of expertise. So whatever you set your profile and your headline up to be, you need to then back that up with your content. Although the flip side of that is we still see, although less often than we used to, we still see that some off-topic stuff can really fly. And again, I just mentioned to you offhand earlier, the only post I've had that's really blown up at all in the past month, I would say, has been something that took me probably 30 seconds to put together. And it was about the World Cup. So nothing to do with LinkedIn training at all. And so that it's kind of, it's funny when that happens, but it's also, you think, well, how can I turn that into business? Well, you probably can't. I mean, the real secret for latching onto things like that is to start conversations in the comments and move them into the DM, so that just basically people like you because you've said something that resonated with them, and somehow you stay in their orbit and you stay memorable to them, so that eventually they might want to do some business with you. But I can't just turn a World Cup post into, now book my LinkedIn training. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But like you say, it's nice that you do get some reaction now and again, because like sometimes it's like, I've spent ages doing that and no one's read it.
That's really frustrating. Lots of people have told me the same. It's like, I spent 2 hours making this video that is chopped down perfectly to 3 minutes, and it gets all the points across, and I've had 3 comments, and then I do a stupid thing about something I saw in Aldi, and it's got 20,000 views. What do I do with that? It's a really hard thing to say. All I can really tell people is the people who succeed are the ones who just stick in the game for long enough. The people who turn up for 6 months and expect to be millionaires probably aren't going to be. The people who just there week after week, day after day, doing something valuable, creating a series of content the way you do, for example, like in the end, those people just get remembered as like that person knows what he's on about.
absolutely.
He's probably not a cowboy. You know, I can probably trust him. And they're the ones who end up getting the long-term referral. So it's not a very sexy answer, but you know, if you stick in the game long enough, it kind of eventually works.
But isn't that like life? You know, the more the more you put in,
Yeah.
the more you get out, don't you? We've got a few comments
Absolutely.
coming in. So John's come from Brazil today. So hi, John. Thanks ever so much for. Oh no, sorry, Louis. He's saying John here. John, since last week, my
Yes.
feed changed drastically. Tons of videos. Are you seeing tons of videos at the moment, John?
Well, LinkedIn have reintroduced this video feed on the mobile app, but I still don't have it on my mobile app. It hasn't arrived here. They're testing that in the UK and I think Australia and Canada as well. So I haven't got it yet, but it looks like they're kind of redoubling their efforts to get video back into people's feeds. So they may with that be like you might start seeing some more in your feed, but hopefully it'll still be relevant to the things that you are meant to be interested in. But again, I don't know if it's a user interface thing, but personally, if I'm going to spend time scrolling through videos, realistically, that's going to be on YouTube or it's going to be on TikTok. The user interface is just nicer. I find the videos more engaging. I tend not to have that behavior on LinkedIn, but time will tell whether other people kind of agree with that. Because, you know, I don't see myself as a typical LinkedIn user. Like, for example, some people love the games here. I don't play them at all. You know, I'll do my Wordle on New York Times every day, but I don't do LinkedIn games. So it's just horses for courses. But I've not seen any change on video just yet.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Right. So Martin said that we dropped out just after we said to pay for LinkedIn. Was it listening? And Marianne said exactly the same. And then Martin said he won't go live for the risk of humiliation, knowing that no one is watching. I've watched other people's just for moral support. And this is why some people don't post as well, isn't it, John? Because they're sort of like worried no one's going to talk about it or anything. What are your thoughts on that?
In one sense, it's freeing. Like, if you know that no one is actually there, you can kind of say anything. You can test ideas and you can see how things fit and you can get more comfortable. And also, like, if you look back at the YouTube videos of people who are now considered superstars, like often like the first 3 months, they had like 3 viewers or something. But the big difference is they just didn't give up. You know, like I think Mr. Beast's videos are still up there and he's got, I don't know, hundreds of millions of subscribers now. But he started out like everyone starts with no viewers.
Yeah.
So it's a question of whether it actually suits you. Not everyone is suited to video. You know, if you're going to be kind of, you know, like like a piece of rock or something, and it's just like video might not work for you. But you'll never know unless you give it a try. You might find another medium that works for you. But whatever medium does work, you've just got to stick at it for long enough for it to work. None of us got massive views to start with. And even if you were lucky enough to have a viral hit early on, it doesn't always translate into long-term success. In fact, it probably rarely does. So it's just a case of whether you can stick it out and what's your vision for what you want to be known for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you started your LinkedIn career after you wrote a book, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah,
yes.
let's have a look at this book.
Here it is.
Oh.
Content DNA coming over to you now.
Thank you very much indeed. I got my very own copy.
I'm very professional.
You see how ratty it is. I took this on holiday, and my grandson threw it in the swimming pool. He thought he was being funny. He was tiny at the time. So yeah, bless indeed. Can you tell us a little bit about what we should be doing with our content, and a little bit about the book and why we should buy the book? And while you're doing that, I'm just going to nip and do an emergency thing. So bear with me. You carry on. You're going to be on your own for a second.
Yeah, of course. No problem. Well, I mean, Content DNA was, it came about really because when I was still doing technical writing for my clients, I ended up telling them the same sorts of thing all the time about, you know, before you ask me to write for your website, you kind of need to know what you're trying to say, what you stand for, what is your personal brand all about. And so I've always been interested in kind of science, biochemistry, and then this DNA idea came to me, and I was thinking, like, we've all got our own DNA. It's all slightly different, made from the same building blocks maybe, but We're all composed slightly differently. How do you go about capturing that essence and boiling it down to maybe 4 or so things, with one central thing that is the most important? And how do you kind of repeat that message often enough for it to land in people's heads? So in my example, I've got relentlessly helpful at the center of all of my personal brand. I keep repeating it. It's in my LinkedIn profile. It's everywhere that I create content. It's now a trademark phrase. I say it often enough that other people say it back to me. And when it echoes back to you, it's almost like a song, like people are repeating a lyric back to you, and you're thinking, right, they've remembered me. That gives me a strategic advantage. And so the book is kind of, how do you get to that point as well so that you can be remembered? Ashley's a good example. He's got the color branding going on, always got that yellow and green, got the 15-minute guy. That's also a registered thing. He's got the book that has the same kind of look and feel. And it's all about being memorable, because it's very hard to be the very best in your category. Like if you're trying to say,
who is the very best in their category? Because it's only the very best for football, for example, category.
Yeah.
The very best for football is Liverpool. All right. According to John Espirian. All right. But if you're called Ashley Leeds, I can't go liking Liverpool, can I? And I think that's the thing and I love what you just said then. You keep repeating it, and then people repeat it back.
And a lot of people are a bit nervous about that, because they think, oh, well, that's, I'm going to be saying it 100 times a day or something. Well, not necessarily. But also bear in mind that a lot of people just don't see your stuff. So while you might have, you've been in multiple interviews, or you've made multiple posts, sent loads of emails, a tiny proportion of people are going to see that. You're going to see a lot of it because you're making it. But very few people see that stuff. And so it won't be repetitive to them. And on the off chance that it is repetitive to them, that means that they're probably well tuned into your content already, and they're probably a fan of yours. So actually, those people won't mind anyway. So it's a case of just not being scared to understand what you are, what you stand for, and then repeating the message. So it's what I call consistency and congruence in the book. So the book is all about how you get to that point where you can get your own version of this relentlessly helpful idea that I came up with, so that you can stand out and hopefully be memorable. And being remembered is the thing. That's the thing that opens the doors to, like, oh, I need help with this. I know a guy. That's the thing. I know a guy. And then they come to you. That's the whole point.
And the thing is, it takes a little bit of time, doesn't it? You're not going to do this in a 5-week training course, are you?
That's it. And it's one of my issues with some of the gurus who are out there, self-appointed gurus who are like, follow this 7-step program over a month and you too will be getting millions of views on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever it is. It's like, really? It never really works out like that. That's a short-term shock and awe tactics that aren't sustainable. The reality is you've got to build your base, and you've got to be in it for the long run. And for me, it's taken quite a few years of runway to build up before I could
to be an overnight success.
And loads of people say the same. So it's not a coincidence, is it? If everyone says I've been building for 5 years and now suddenly I'm starting to get subscribers, no surprise. It's like you need some skin in the game for a while before it really starts to work. And I'm always a bit suspicious of someone who's just turned up out of nowhere and suddenly has 100,000 followers. You think you might have bought those. Or
where did you buy those from?
Yeah.
We're going to give a couple of shouts out. We got Hannah from Denmark.
Oh, lovely.
We've got our friend Debbie from West Palm Beach, Florida. Who wouldn't want to be there right at the moment? And we've also got Brenda Mendes.
Lovely.
Who else have we got?
Hey.
Asha from India. They're all over the place. We've got worldwide here today. Stick in the game is a good formula, she's saying. Horses for courses. And Jeff Young, good old Jeff, nice to see us today. So thanks very much. It's lovely to get people jumping on. And Mary Woo, look at that.
Oh wow. Definitely late in the day for her.
No,
nice
early.
To see you, Mary.
Early, isn't it?
Well, depending on who she might have been, she might be awake overnight. Who knows?
I don't know what the time. Mary, you're going to have to tell us what time it is there. So thank you for joining us today. John, I do a. We're almost out of time, John. You're going to have to, next time we do this, we're going to have to do an hour long, not 30 minutes. At the end of my show every week, I've started doing this roast my post thing, right? And this roast my post thing is where I talk to people that don't normally do LinkedIn as well as you, right? And so I roast their post. And I'm like, I can't ask John, maybe he'll do it for me. We had a little chat beforehand and you said, no, I've got one that hasn't done very well. Yeah. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. So should we do that?
Absolutely. Yes. Let's go for it.
Are you up for this? Right. Hang on just a sec. Let me find it. There we go. Roast my post. Roast my post. Give me the comment ghost. Roast my post. Roast my post. We're gonna roast my I couldn't help that. That's the only reason I do this is so I can make a little jingle. So you told me about this. You've got Nano Live, and we haven't even talked about UpLift Live yet. So I'll come back to that. Just tell us a little bit about what UpLift Live is, please.
Yeah, so we noticed that a few years ago that LinkedIn don't really do their own official events, conferences, that kind of thing. So myself and a couple of colleagues, we just decided, well, why don't we put our own event on where we talk about LinkedIn from the point of view of independent consultants, like working out what really works on the platform. And so we created our conference, which is called UpLift Live. It runs in Birmingham. It's run for the last 3 years. And now we've moved to a stage where it feels like, Birmingham shouldn't just get all the goodies. We should spread things around a bit. So I've set up a little mini version of the event called UpLift Live Nano, the next one of which is going to be in Bristol in September, on September the 17th. So we just get together for a few hours, have a bite to eat, talk about LinkedIn, and I'm going to be reviewing profiles and answering LinkedIn questions in the room. In person is always the best, isn't it? So that's basically UpLift Live. It's all about LinkedIn best practice from the independent point of view.
No, perfect. And they're really good events. I can't make it. I'm going up to Liverpool to do a talk, so I'm really gutted.
Well, congratulations. You've got a speaking gig, so it's all good.
Fantastic. So your post then, you've done a banner, a Canva thing, and then you've put a link in it, and there's no picture of John. People love John. Yeah, I would have gone with a picture of John, but I might well have to.
Yeah, I might well have to do that for the next promo I do for this, because I couldn't quite work out what the best thing to do is. And I know from past experience that putting links in posts isn't always great for visibility, but this is a transactional post. It's like, if I want you to buy a ticket, there's no real way I can talk about something without then giving you the means to go and do the thing. So that might be one of the reasons why it hasn't done brilliantly so far. But yes, I think that's a good idea to put my face into the next one.
I can't believe I'm roasting a John Espirian post.
It's all good. It's all good. If we pretended that every post was just a stellar success, that would just be a lie, wouldn't it? Stuff doesn't always work, especially often during summer as well. It's like things slow down, They do, and
I think that's what I love about you, John. Is you're just a normal guy like me, like everybody else that follows you. And then we talked about turning it into an event, and you've already done that. And I love the fact that with the event, that you can actually then click on the link and then you can invite people. So I can start inviting. So I could invite Mary Wu, for example, because she's on the call.
Sure.
That would be, if she came, I'd cancel my speaking gig.
That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a trek for you for a couple of hours, I think, Mary. But I think that if you're doing an event like that, is to go actually create an event, and then it gets a different page all of itself, and then maybe put that in your featured section or something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I've also changed my banner recently on my profile to promote the event as well, and my featured link on my profile is. I've only done those recently, but I suppose the next stage of promotion is direct messaging people to say, look, this thing is out in the world, and given that it's geographically based, it makes sense to target people, in this case in the southwest of England, to say, could you make it? And if you couldn't, maybe you know someone who could. So that's the kind of thing that you do. That's behind the scenes. No one can see that publicly. Like if I put a post out and then I DM 100 people, well, people will see the post. No one will see the 100 DMs that I've gone to the effort of making. I haven't done that bit yet, but that's the next stage to kind of it's basically it's a way of shortcutting the algorithm, because DMs always get delivered.
Yeah,
right? So
they do.
So if I send 100 DMs, 100 people will receive those messages. Doesn't mean they'll respond, but I know that they'll have got them. Whereas putting a post out into the world, you're kind of at the mercy of LinkedIn's algorithm. You're like, please show this to people, and you never quite know whether it will. Whereas if you directly send it, then you know that they will, which means that you need to be sparing in doing that. Because if you imagine if you did that with every post, I mean, people would just put you down as a spammer. So
yeah, absolutely.
there's a time and a place. But if it's something important, like obviously there's a financial imperative for me to try and sell tickets because I want to fill the room. In which case it makes sense for me to do it. Hopefully by showing that it's it's the place to be. It's going to be a nice thing, and you're going to have nice food and all that stuff. And hopefully people will come along.
Yeah, no, they definitely will. We've got a few more people coming in. Mark's we know Mark's another LinkedIn trainer. Martin's from Shetland. Who we got? Marion Avery's chatting away. What else we got? Tunisia.
Lovely.
Mary's saying it's 6:30 a.m.
Oh wow. Okay, it's an early start. It's not a late night.
That's a good for you, Mary. So we're with you with your coffee. You can say her name better than I can.
Marie-Line.
Yeah, thank you for that. We got Maria just up the road in Somerset. This is crazy. All these lovely people. Thanks for coming in. Kathy York.
Okay.
Disappeared from your calendar. And what's Marianne saying? Found that posts with images I've created template in Canva look too polished.
Yes, that's a very, very good point by Marianne as well. Yeah, I mean, real images tend to perform better than the polished graphics. So again, I'll keep that in mind. But also, the other part of me thinks sometimes it can feel like a bit of a fashion parade. So you just put up selfie images all the time. You feel like you're playing to the gallery in not always the most positive way. Like, you can be seduced by the fact that putting a good selfie on LinkedIn could do well, and then you just keep doing that, and it feels a little bit hollow to do that. I suppose from time to time it's fine, but I can think of some people who that's all they do. It's just a random post and then a nice looking selfie, and you think, I know why you're doing this, and I know that it works. Still doesn't really feel right. So I'm a little bit conflicted on that, but I take the point that polished graphics don't always fly well.
No, interesting. So Jeremy Freeman, your co-conspirator from UpLift Live, says you deserve a good roasting. So
yeah, fair enough, fair play. I'll take that.
And he's put the tickets. He's put the link for the tickets in the chat there. So yeah, if you want to go along to that, we've run out of time, John.
Well, that was fast.
Well, it was. Maybe next time we'll have to have a longer session. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you want to share with everybody today?
Well, probably not really. Only that I'm kind of intrigued by how people are feeling about this summer and what their activity is going to look like on LinkedIn. Because often I find that things slow down, but the intense heat, maybe it's the World Cup, but it feels like LinkedIn has been really, really slow, and there hasn't been much development either. So it feels like it's quite a quiet space at the moment. So I'd be interested to hear whether people think the same way. And as you know, Ashley, because you've been part of my podcast before with sending in questions, like even questions for the show have dried up a little bit. So it feels like maybe everyone's taking a collective break. And I'd be interested to, in the comments, please let us know. Are you going to take it easy this summer? Assuming it is summer, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And if not, like, where are you? Because I'm not really hearing from so many people. I'd be interested to follow up that discussion.
I'm glad you brought the podcast up as well. Tell us about that.
Thank you.
You're nearly at 500. That's incredible.
Almost there. I can't really take credit because I've only done about 30 of those episodes myself. You know, Mark Williams was the long-term host of the show, but it's a nice way of interacting with the community because, you know, I get to answer people's questions. So if you've got any questions about LinkedIn that you'd like to hear aired on the Informed podcast, by all means, send them to me. And I love voice notes. Ashley sends me voice notes all the time. I love them. So please do that. Anyone can DM me as well. Totally free. We don't even need to connect. DM me and you might hear your voice on the show sometime soon.
Awesome. I'm just going to give a shout out to my guest next week. I've got Chris James, who is another LinkedIn specialist. He does C2C. So we're going to have a chat with him next week. So it'll be interesting to see that. And I've also got a couple of other LinkedIn specialists coming up soon. And I think, isn't that nice that we share stuff rather than see each other as competition, John?
I think it's a very collegiate atmosphere that we've got in the LinkedIn training community. You know, people are willing to share what they've learned. I've just spotted this, or this is broken. I've just raised a ticket about this. What do you think LinkedIn are going to do with this? And very few people gatekeep that stuff. So it's lovely that we share information. I think the whole LinkedIn community benefits from us keeping each other well informed.
Yeah. And before we go, you've got to tell us what on earth that is behind your head.
Oh, all the post-it notes, you mean?
Yes.
Well, these are the members of the Espresso Plus community. Your name is up there somewhere. Ashley, all the people who are in the private group where we chat about things like LinkedIn best practice and content creation and stuff. So I've been building that community for the past 4 years. And it's the place where increasingly we're concentrating LinkedIn knowledge so that we understand how the platform really works and what really works at the moment. So, yeah, by all means, chat to me if you want to know more about the community.
Fantastic. And last comment today. Thank you to everybody for all your lovely comments. Mary's saying, John, you need to take credit for all of the LinkedIn trainers in the world. Mark picked you to carry the torch, and she's telling people to listen to the show. So we're looking forward to the 500th episode. So looking forward to see what you're doing there. But John, it's always a pleasure. You like I said, we just don't have enough time. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'm sure we'll speak again very, very soon.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, John. And thank you to everybody for joining us today. And thank you for all your lovely comments. And we will be back next week. You take care. Cheerio. Bye-bye.
You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in.